Welcome, this is Jackie Cambridge, and in this particular video we're going to just introduce the common law system within the UK. The UK legal framework is made up of two things, common law and statute law. I think of them as two sides of the same coin. They're separate and different, but connected. So common law is the law of the land. It's the oldest form of law that we have, and it's been around since the 11th century. Common law is in the form of case law and precedents. So people have been injured, they sought compensation, and that becomes a case or a precedent, a standard that we're then judged against. Common law is ever changing, so as new things happen, we get new cases and new precedents. So for instance, genetically modified organisms, new technology, we'll get new cases as those things happen out there in the wide world. So common law is unwritten. Until someone goes to court, there isn't any law. The other side of the legal framework is statute law. Statute law is always written down, it's in the form of Acts of Parliament and regulations, and we'll deal with that one separately. So under common law, we all have a personal duty of care, and I have a duty of care not to endanger other people by the things I do or the things that I don't do. So if I had a hazardous substance here and I opened it up and you were overcome by the fumes, I would be breaching my duty of care. Employers and organisations also have common law duties, and these have evolved over hundreds of years. We have a duty to select competent employees, provide safe plant and equipment, and a safe working environment. And the working environment could be here in this room here, it could be in an office, it could be outside, or it could even be when my members of staff were working on a roof or something like that. Then we have a duty to provide safe systems of work, training and supervision. And all of these duties have evolved over hundreds of years, and they're based on reasonableness, not doing everything, but doing what's reasonable to protect people. And if I had a member of staff who perhaps has got a disability, perhaps has got a visual impairment, because they're at greater risk of injury, the duty that I owe them under common law is greater as well. If we breach our duty of care as an individual or as a company, we're being negligent. So that's what negligence is. If we don't act reasonably, we're being negligent. If someone tries to sue us for negligence, they have to show three things. They have to show a duty of care as owed, and I owe a duty of care to those I could foresee being injured. They've got to show that I breached that duty, I acted unreasonably. And they've got to show that any loss or damage or injury that occurred was a result of what happened. So if I opened a hazardous chemical, they breathed in the fumes, they would have to show that their ill health or injury was linked to breathing in that chemical. The other issue for employers under common law is vicarious liability. So this is where you as an employer and your organisation is automatically liable for the torts or wrongs committed by your employees. So if an employee is working and they injure somebody while doing so, under vicarious liability, you as the employer are automatically liable. So if someone sues for compensation, it's the employer that's going to pick up the tab. So from a common law point of view, we have an individual duty of care, whether we're at work or at home. We have a duty not to endanger other people. Our employers have duties to make sure that we have a safe place of work, a safe working environment, training, supervision, safe plant and equipment, etc. If we breach our common law duty, we're committing a tort. A tort is a civil wrong. It's the common law equivalent of a crime. The main tort is negligence. So if I don't act reasonably, I'm being negligent. And vicarious liability is where the employer is automatically liable for the torts or wrongs of their employees when people get injured. And breaching common law leads to civil actions. So we can be taken to the civil courts where people try and sue us to seek compensation. So that's a quick potted tour over common law.